I remember listening to Return to Forever and hearing the bass be played in the way I hadn't heard the bass played before. And before I even knew Stanley's name, I thought, wow, that bassist is really good. I wonder who that is.
I've known of, listened to, loved, and respected Stanley Clarke for decades. I mean, he's a giant to me personally.
He was the first bass player I ever got into. He really is, in a lot of ways, like one of the biggest superstars in my life. It's my version of meeting, Michael Jackson or some superstar.
Success is a personal thing. It's like something that you want. You don't have it, it's over there.
He's a legend. He's a deep person, way much deeper than, people see on the stage or in his music.
He's such an inspiration because he played with such amazing artists like Chick Corea. Stanley's from that generation and playing with this generation.
I've followed his career, and the stuff that he did with Return to Forever or the newer bands he had, it was surreal to kind of just be in the room with one of the legends.
Stanley Clarke, the greatest bass player to ever live.
Kind of sort of a rock jazz aesthetic, combining rock styles, blues styles with a jazz language. Stanley, I kind of had in mind what he was looking for.
Stanley Clarke today is our Miles Davis. He's our Art Blakey because he went through that. He was 18, 19 in Art Blakey's band.
Even though I picked the bass, I still have a melodic sense to myself. I played fundamental bass, but also I wanted to play melodies on the bass. Sometimes I'd join a band and they were more interested in me playing solos, and I was lucky enough to have people that I played with that admired that.
When I think of Stanley, I think of the way that he plays.
When I see Stanley play the bass, it doesn't even look like a bass. He strums it, he taps it, he plays all these different notes. And it's almost like he was painting a picture that didn't even have anything to do with music.
That way of playing the bass has become very popular now. You see a lot of bass players that are very skilled, and in some cases have more skill than, say, a traditional lead instrument like a trumpet player or something.
You never know with Stanley. He's so unpredictable, man. He'd be like, let's just go do it. I'm like, let's just go do it, okay?
The kind of person that he is, that's how he sounds. And it's pretty special. I hope I sound this way.
He showed me that the bass isn't just a piece of wood that you play notes on, that you can really expand it into something greater. I remember Stanley came in for the first time and he showed me a really interesting technique, which was to kind of let the piece speak for itself and give it breathing room. In the beginning, you let it hang on to an A, and you let that resonate. And as the band comes in, you come down to a C, and you let that resonate. And eventually you come in to walking. And as the piece progresses, the tension starts to build and it releases. And Stanley showed me how to use that dynamic contrast to kind of explore different variations in that piece. It's one of my favorites. I'm Grayson Fitzgerald, and I play the bass. I am in Santa Monica High School. I'm a junior, and I am about to perform. Sound check in 5.
Now for this next one, we're playing Recordame, and we're bringing out Stanley for this one. It's been such an honor to play with him, and so, we're very excited to play again.
I've always been sort of really in love with mentoring young people, because that's what happened to me when I was younger. This was like a perfect place. I've always wondered about Santa Monica College.
We're live! Hello, everyone! Oh my goodness, what a thrill to welcome you all here to our inaugural Future Sounds of Jazz Festival. Amazing. With no further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the vision of today's artistic excellence, Stanley Clarke.
Hello, hey, all right. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy you guys came out. Anybody that knows me really well, they know that my real love in life is teaching young people.
My name is Cameron Ravar. I mainly play tenor saxophone. I recently started playing soprano more and want to get more into it, but yeah, I'm a sax player. I'm a Sandmo alumni now. I used to go to Santa Monica High School. Last year, when I was with the jazz band, we actually had a collaboration with Stanley Clarke, where he would jump in, play concerts with us, and sit in on rehearsals too. He worked with us.
It's really like the desire to create. And with these musicians here, they have that same sort of desire. You could see it in their eyes. There was a bunch of small groups, and the playing was fine, but I was really fascinated after all these guys came up to me and their eyes were like dilated, like these gigantic marbles coming out of their head, because they were excited and they're really like interested in music. And each person may have a different reason why he's doing it, but nevertheless, those reasons are generally good.
My name is Aoi Kuroha. I'm Santa Monica College student, and I take jazz band class. で、その時ジャズのこと知らなかったけど、初めて聞いたジャズをすごくワクワクし、ジャズを聴いた時にとってもワクワクして、そういう音楽を奏でられる世界ってとても素敵だなと思ったので。
You never know how the tune's gonna sound. Every time you play a tune, it's gonna sound different. I mean, with different players, it's a different sound. And there's this whole aspect of spirituality, I think, that can be explored by just, I think, playing more improvisational music. Now, I don't mean for everyone, but I think for me, that was something I thought, yes, this is my calling. This is something I want to pursue full time.
Hi, my name's Tia Lukasan. I play trumpet at Santa Monica College. He's very professional about it, but still in a friendly way. We still get stuff done, and he's a great instructor. He lets us know what to work on and includes some of his ideas, but at the same time uses our ideas because we're the ones playing.
He's really opened a passion for me to keep on pursuing music. Advice he really touched me on was just play your heart out. It really builds confidence through the sax, and it will remind the audience of how confident your playing style is. Once you build confidence, you start to develop more skill, more bag into your playing.
My name is Sam Smiley and I play the piano. The first time I met Stanley was unbelievably surreal because I had listened to his records when I was like 15 or 16. I would obsess. I remember staying up till 3 in the morning obsessing over these live recordings of him from the 70s. And then to see him in person and to hear even his voice, it was very surreal.
I'm Aiden Farrell. I play saxophone. So if I write something that I'm not 100% happy with, it'll just get shelved or put on the back burner basically forever. What he encouraged me to do was to not discard music that I wasn't entirely happy with, but rather to take elements that I was and incorporate them into new songs. So by kind of disregarding that perfectionist streak we all have, we can make a lot more progress. Stanley's approach is unique. He lets you come up with the ideas as opposed to saying, you should do this here, but kind of leads you to suggest, hey, maybe this would sound good over this chord, or maybe we could do this with the arrangement. By letting us come to these conclusions on our own, it's really developing our musicianship.
My name is Cameron Graves, and I play piano. I'm a musician artist, and I work with Stanley Clarke. Stanley is the mentor. It's true mentorship. It really is, like, it makes you grow. If you really want to be a pro musician, you gotta get dirty.
I'm Becca. I'm from Georgia. I play piano. Been playing with Stanley Clarke since I was like 15,
13,
16,
14.
Something like that. I've been listening to him since I was 6. You know the feeling that, having some heroes, and sometimes you think that they don't really exist, like Spider-Man and like superheroes. Like you think that, they're like just characters of movies or something like that. Someone like this, genius, like god of music, well, he did exist and he still exists.
My name is Emilio Modeste, and I play the tenor saxophone. I met Stanley through my former band leader. His name was Wallace Roney, and Wallace Roney was the only student of Miles Davis. I also had the pleasure or the privilege to grow up with one of his original band members from Return to Forever, Lenny White. I got to know Lenny, and he took me under his wing, and there was always this person looming, this Stanley said this, oh, Stanley used to do this, he used to say this, he used to talk about this, or he was like a mythical family member that I didn't know for a long time.
My name is Colin Cook, and I play electric and acoustic guitar. So the first time I met him was, I believe, in 2019 at the Detroit Jazz Festival in the hotel lobby of the hotel we were staying at. So at the time I was performing with Cameron Graves, who's a piano player that'll be performing tonight as well. And we'd been playing together for a couple of years, and Stanley was in the audience and caught our show, and there were some sound issues that, fortunately, Stanley being there had his guy go up and help us fix them.
I actually, grew up in Stanley's band. I was 16 when I played with him first time. I'm 28 now.
We created what we call the West Coast Get Down, which is this LA collective, the West Coast Get Down. Well, that's when Stanley started keying into us. Stanley put together an audition. He was looking for a new band, right? He was looking for some new musicians, and we all kind of showed up to his audition.
My name is Jeremiah Collier. I play the drums in the Stanley Clarke Forever Band. He's trying to set everyone up that's an aspiring musician that wants to be a musician. He wants to help anyone he can to be great and to become great and to remain great if they listen. I'm glad he's taking me underneath his wing to just, learn the industry and just learn what's important, what's really gonna matter at the end of the day once all this stuff is said and done. So it's been a great experience, man. I can't complain. I had some great time. So I ate some great food with this dude too.
Playing with Stanley was another explore of freedom in my musical life. Because, he's giving you that freedom, always. You don't feel any limits over there.
Jazz it's like my heritage. It's just a part of this country, this land. There's something very special about how we're finding our way with this karma, with this story in America of everybody coming together to find a story that we can be proud of together. We want to be here, we want to love each other, we want to tell new stories, we want to imagine things. We don't want to be pulled down by anything.
大変なこともいっぱいあるけど、やっぱりこうやってアメリカに来て英語が全く分かんないで携帯使ってトランスレーションとかしてたけれど、それでも音楽を通して人とつながり合えることができたし、コミュニケーションのツールなのが、あとは人を幸せにする人を幸せにすることができる音楽が私は大好きだし、そういう音楽を私は演奏できたらいいなって思ってます。
For a student finding themselves in music right now, I can't imagine a greater boon than having encountered Stanley Clarke as a mentor.
So just out of curiosity, I know there are a lot of students here from, I think from Santa Monica College tonight. So if you are a student here tonight, would you please stand up? Just stand up. There you are. There you are. Thank you. So this is the generation that's coming on board to receive all this incredible cultural inheritance. And if you're interested in jazz, a huge part of your cultural inheritance is whom? Stanley Clarke. That's who.
The gift that each student will receive from him at the level of his musical generosity, his spiritual generosity, and his care and concern just for human beings as well as for this art form makes him an unparalleled mentor.
When we as an organization were thinking about who to install as a resident artist, who we could be just so fortunate to work with, because jazz is so deep in our DNA as an organization, probably the only person we could be, we'd hope to work with, and could be so fortunate to work with, was Stanley Clarke, and this indeed came true. So we're with Stanley for the next 3 years. The goal of this commitment is that in another 2 years' time, in 2026, we will launch with Stanley as the artistic director. BroadStage will kick off an international jazz festival for Santa Monica.
The thing that I would encourage young musicians to do is more fundamental. You have to find partners. In music, like many other things, the synergy plays a really important part. You know, like I would give advice to someone that's very young is to play with as many people and play as many different genres of music as possible.
This first year of this residency, I've noticed some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful musicians, and there was a trio you're going to hear right now of some musicians that I promise you're going to hear of them in the future.
Stanley had this relationship with the school where he was coming in and mentoring us as students, and teaching us about bits and bits about music.
Now, I'm not going to attempt his last name, but this is Varad, and he's killed.
Having someone like Stanley Clarke asking me to open was a big thing for me. And I know the bandmates that I had looked up to him, and overall it was just honestly unbelievable.
Stanley actually had a little conversation with me about the bass I had at school. So this bass has been at the school for around 15 years, and it was a little bit in the drudges. It was on its last legs, as you could say. And he went into different shops and toured around, and with an immense knowledge that he has, found the perfect instrument for me, the perfect action, which is the height off the strings, the wood, the shape of the instrument, the sound it has, how it interacts with the amp, how it comes out acoustically. But it was magical. And being able to play that bass with Stanley Clarke made it feel that much more connected.
He influenced, all of us in the band to, start composing, because he said it's a good way to start building your knowledge of music.
It's amazing knowing that he's just performing with us, because he's been through a lot, I'm assuming in his life as well, but in his music career. So it feels like so powerful and just beautiful to play with him.
I think that Stanley and I have a really deep connection with bass, and I remember the first time he came in, I was awestruck, as I said, and coming in, I didn't really know how to approach him, and then we started talking, and it felt really real. I felt like he was just a human being talking to another human being.
Definitely to keep working hard, because there are a lot of players who will be better than you. That's what music is, being on that grind and coming from an emotion, but at the same time doing your best so that you can show others who you are as a person.
I try to communicate as clearly as I can on the piano and make sure that everybody's part when I write it out is as clear as it can be, so we're all sounding our best.
We're going to finish with this last song that I wrote and I brought to the band, and they were so gracious to play with me. This is called Deborah's Disposition. Deborah's Disposition.
I take advantage of my bandmates' abilities and their strengths and use them to the best of my abilities to make sure we're all sounding good together. In the case of my friend Aiden, the way he plays the tenor saxophone, when I'm writing something, I'm thinking about how does it fit for him, as opposed to another saxophone player that I might play with who's completely different.
Stanley's been in residence for less than a year. I've already had the chance to perform with him twice. I'll be performing with him at a jazz festival, which did not exist before his residence. He's creating so many gigs for us, and so many opportunities that did not exist before he was here. And while it's amazing to have him mentoring and educating and all of these opportunities for us to get recognition and exposure and put our names out there with his guidance that just did not exist before his residency.
I think of jazz music as a conversation. I think of it as the truest reflection of someone's personality. And to say that someone's music is bad in an improvised way is to, in some ways, insult their character. Because to improvise is to speak, to say what you feel. I think at the core of jazz and improvised music, it's really the core of someone's personality.
I really, really do care about people, you know, and I really care about young people in music, because I really do believe the arts serves a really powerful purpose on this planet. It really reminds us who we are. I've been a lot of places, and I've had presidents of countries and prime ministers come backstage. And when they come backstage after they hear the music, they're not wearing that tag. It's just Joe, you know, Vladimir. It's just Peter, Pedro, whoever. And it's the beautiful thing about music. It's a beautiful power and responsibility that artists have. So you want to make sure that it's absolutely the best, high quality, you know, really creative. You don't want to just go half-ass about anything, because somebody will look at it. You can either inspire that person or not. So I say, why waste your time or their time? Do something spectacular.
What I really love, and I'm glad a lot of things happened in my life so early in my age. I had never been nervous in my life on the stage, or I like that in myself actually, because people are not there to look at you nervous. People are there to enjoy with your music. So from my experiences never ends. I'm gonna get more experience and more experience. So.
Studying with Stanley and being mentored by Stanley, that's about as high as it gets, at least in the jazz world, because he's been doing it for so long and has played with all the greats, every single one of them.
Stanley has played with every jazz great. He is himself a jazz great. The fact that he happens to be our neighbor was just an incredible stroke of good luck. But it really began with Stanley coming here to perform. Every time he'd come, we'd just have a little bit more of a conversation, and it just got clearer and clearer that this is someone whose charisma goes without saying, whose talent is in evidence. There's no question about any of these things. But this is also someone who really deeply cares about the art form and the cultural inheritance of this arriving generation, that they're there to receive it, able to receive it, excited to receive it, as he was.
I think he definitely puts great emphasis on creating a tune that feels good to play as a band, but that also leaves a lot of room for the individual musicians to express themselves. So a lot of his compositions are very open harmonic landscape that allows us to be equally as open. Stanley's made it very clear that he prefers when there's a lot of interaction amongst the band.
Because this is a team effort. There's a band leader, but he has people around him to build the team, you know what I'm saying, so we can all win together. So that's all he really focuses on a lot, is just like everybody winning together.
That's the relationship, and that's the mentoring that he kind of does. He gives you that gritty mentorship that turns you into a pro musician.
Stanley Clarke is an amazing mentor. He treats us kind of like friends instead of like a teacher, so there's that really good connection.
I think the importance of having a mentor in music is to create a sense of having a home in that community. And I think that having a mentor like Stanley provides this space to cultivate the most meaningful music experience where it becomes the light of your day.
It's really important because it can bring people together build chemistry.
The importance of having a mentor, especially as a musician, is not just so much a matter of what they teach you about how to play music. Hearing about what he did to establish himself, what he did when he was our age, what he did to develop his own sound, learning from his path as a way to inform ours.
With Stanley, these compositions that he and Chick wrote, there's a language there. With every note that we're playing, we're learning how to be these virtuosic soloists and really carry our own weight, but we're learning how to become one. Fearless. He's never afraid to step out and lead the way.
And I think he's more comfortable doing that when we really give him the support that he needs and he can trust that he can count on us.
We trust him, and he's earned our trust, and hopefully we've earned his.
I never, ever, still to this day, I never go on stage without speaking to the people I'm going to play with. If I'm going on with 8 guys, they're going to hear me. Hey man, how you doing? What's happening? It connects and links up because there's no reason for anyone to feel alone on a stage when you're not. About a nice hand for Becca Gochia-Shavili, Emilio Modeste, Colin Cook, Planetary Prince Cameron Graves, and Jeremiah Collier. You've been a great audience. Thank you so much.